Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Okay, so this stream, this is a reckless stream. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This stream, we will be, so y'all already know, could last a minute or two, could go on. This one is not going to be too long. We're not trying to do what we did yesterday. Shout out to everybody that was in the chat yesterday. Shout out to the panel from yesterday. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank you for the engagement and the conversation. Fire as usual. This one we are going to be. This is going to be maybe a rough draft. I want to come back to this with a more in more detail, maybe a little bit later on. But this is going to be kind of my first go at the FD signifier Ole interview. And shout out to Ole, fellow Bahamian, right? Yes, Mrs. Z, I thought you were Haitian. Yes, I am. But my mom was born and raised in Bahamas for a little bit. Her parents are Haitian. Okay, so yes. So yes. Mr. Z gets to claim Bahamas also. Um, so let's go through it. I so FD says he is going to be working on that gender war video that he spoke to me about. What, earlier this year I want to say, or late last year. So that will be interesting. Um, and I want to see where he goes with this. That should be definitely interesting. I want to say this to FD, and this is where we get into some interesting territory. This speaks to something that I've been consistently telling you. And you actually made mention of it. You pretty much made mention of me without saying my name. So, of course, hi Ole. If you never heard of Mr. Z before, and me and my super teeny tiny channel, I don't expect you to watch this, but just in case you do by accident, right? What's going on? And I've been watching Ole and kind of following Ole for a little while now. Also, so yeah. So FD says that when the Simone Biles Owens and Jonathan Owens debacle first happened or occurred, he was going to jump out the window. He had a different take than many of the black left. And I'm paraphrasing a bit, so if I get what he was attempting to convey off, my apologies, FD. That is not on purpose. But from what I was hearing and gathering from what you were saying to Ole, you had a bit of a different take, and you were about to jump out the window with it. And T-Noir and Khadijah told you, whoa, are you sure? Now, this goes back to what I'm saying to you, and this is going to be a theme for, apparently this is a theme for me and FD. And I actually have something to say a little bit later about the conversation you said you had with Herbie. And shout out to Herbie. I like the brother, LGBTQ brother, funny, pretty much emotes and moves like a black woman, but I'm not taking his manhood away from him. But yeah, yeah. Let's be very clear. This is what I keep on saying to you, brother. Like, let's just get it out now. The black community is a gynocracy, a matriarchy if you want to be kind, a gynocracy if you want to be accurate. The left, the black left, is first going to have to come to terms with, yes, that's true. Yes, it is. Okay, overall society's a patriarchy. That's debatable, but let's say, all right, fine. White society is a patriarchy. White men run this society. Okay, cool. The question then becomes, and the black left is going to have to really contend with this, because the black right has already accepted this, and that's why they go so hard the way they do. The black left has to contend with, why does white society put the thumb on the scales for black women? Okay, yes, white men and white women are sexist and racist and homophobic. Okay, cool. Granted. Then why do they put the thumb on the scales for black women concerning black women, black men relationships in the black community? And that is something the black left is going to have to contend with. That first, the black community is ran by its women. Okay, fine. Oh, but it's because the black men are in jail. It's because white society and how they step on black men. And okay, yes, agreed. Cool. It's the way that black men are targeted in our society. It's this very overt physically violent way of why black men are targeted. So black women have to pick up the slack. And it's not that the black community is a matriarchy; it's that the black community defaults to black women running the community because black men aren't there. Okay, fine, cool. Why does white society put the thumb on the scales for black women? If intersectionality and the way we use it in the black community is the dominant ethos, particularly for our black intellectuals, black academics, then why is it that the black women, fine, it's not de jure, it's de facto, right? Why is it that black women run the black community in a white patriarchal society? Okay, let's concede white men run the overall society. Why is it this colony within a nation, the black community, is run by its women? And white society, those same white patriarchs, those same largely white conservative patriarchs, why aren't they doing their very best to upend black women running things in the black community? That's something that black LGBTQ folks, black femmes, black women have to contend with. Huh? FD, you said you had a different take. I have a really good idea, I might be wrong, on what much of your take was going to be concerning um Simone Biles Owens and Jonathan Owens. And I did read that comment and I saw how black women went at you on Twitter. I saw that. You didn't even say anything. You didn't even say anything, nothing that could even be remotely construed as toxic, nothing that could be remotely construed as advocating for hegemonic masculinity or misogynist or any of that. And it didn't matter. I saw how they went at you on Twitter. I told you, bruh. I told you, I said it to you the first time we spoke. You step your big toe over that line. Black women are on your ass over there. And guess what? You could be on the right side of history. It don't matter. And guess what, FD? Me and you both know I'm right about that. Let's be very clear that in the black community, everyone in the black community is far more comfortable going at black men's neck than saying anything critical of black women. And the excuse we give is that black men's toxicity is just so much more impactful. You keep lying to yourself about that. Keep trying to convince your young men and boys about that, and then wonder why when there's an NFL draft, so many of them with white women. Ooh, goddamn, Z. And it's still not most. Let's stop. Keep trying to convince your young black men that they're so toxic and they're so dangerous to black women, and so we're going to defang them, and then wonder why when they get a couple of resources, they're far more likely to not just date out, let's stop, marry out. Keep telling black men, you could try to intellectualize it as much as you want. You could try to hide behind 4 and 5 syllable words. We could use all the sociological terms, etc., etc. Give it all the intersectional lens you want. That sounds nice. Your sons ain't hearing it. Young black men are becoming more and more apathetic, more and more despondent, and black women feel that. Young black women feel that. They're throwing temper tantrums all over the place. And I'm gonna get to what Ole said about swirling in a minute, because I already know. Shout out to Ole for saying it. Ole been saying it for a minute. Don't worry, Ole. Black women ain't trying to hear you because they think there's an escape hatch out of having to end up with black men. Right? Right? So FD goes, FD's like mentioning the black manosphere, namely mentioning Z without actually saying Z's name. Okay, fine, I get it, FD, I get it, right? Don't want to bring attention to Z and my microscopic channel. Shout out to all of my subscribers. Y'all keep Z alive, right? FD mentions this kind of thought that goes on in the black manosphere that FD is some type of secret patriarch. And he's saying, Negroes, I have money. I would change it if I could, right? And he's, I'm paraphrasing, but he's essentially saying, I would change it if I could, but I have money. FD, if you didn't know, a few months ago, I did a live speaking about you and foreign man in a foreign land and consciously, and how your education and your class position allows you to be patriarchs, whether you want to or not. F that. Oh, I would change it if I could. That's not the point. FD, we could talk about what's practical, and we could talk about our ideals. FD, once you started making real money, you first of all, you moved. You said that in this stream. Number one. Number two, you made your wife a stay-at-home mom. Number three, you admitted you're trying not to raise weak black men, but you have a different outlook. You're allowing them to be human, right? You see your son's humanity. Shout out to you. Like, I really believe FD probably is a superb father. I'm not joking. He can hear the sincerity in my voice. Understand something. Do you understand how, whether you, foreign man in a foreign land, consciously, all of these brothers, whether y'all mean to or not, do you understand how absolutely insulting it is to watch foreign man in a foreign land be this big hulking figure and be like, well, why do you want to get physically? Yeah, I go to the gym with my family and I take time away from my wife. Bruh, stop. It's this like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, where they like admit that they're doing the thing, and then they say, well, I don't want to do the thing. Why do you want to do the thing? What? Like, I know I'm living a patriarchal life, but in a different world, I wouldn't be doing this. But why do you want to be a patriarch? Huh? Raising weak black boys to be weak black men, yeah, it's toxic, but why do you want black boys to be strong? And what do you mean by that? Bruh, could we... right? And like, FD called himself an intersectional feminist, and he said that kind of as a throwaway so that we could get around that conversation and go into some more important stuff. Okay, fine. And like he said he has since evolved from that because it doesn't go far enough. Cool. No, brother, you still really that though. And let's be very clear when Mr. Z says intersectional, what I mean putting the thumb on the scales for black women. That means that every conversation, in the backdrop of the conversation, and it's also mixed with standpoint theory, in the backdrop of the conversation is that black women are ultimately right on their worldview, period. Not just their worldview when it comes to America, but their worldview when it comes to just about everything. Their worldview when it comes to black men, their worldview when it comes to anti-blackness, their worldview when it comes to incarceration, their worldview when it comes to black men, black women relationships, their worldview when it comes to rearing children, their worldview when it comes to dealing and handling anti-blackness exhibited by non-black people, namely white folks. At the end of the day, the predominant lens that we view the world through is the intersectional black feminist lens, to the detriment of heterosexual black men. And all of y'all over there know it, but you're trying to find ways of telling black men, shut the hell up. Shut up about it. And if you got to mention it, which we rather you not, can you do it in a way that doesn't hurt black women's feelings and that acknowledges their humanity and their plights? Can we spend about an hour doing the sandwich method when we talk about how great black women are and how we're not trying to dismiss or discount their feelings, their views, and what they live? And then we spend maybe 5 seconds mentioning what black men are saying and what black men are going through. And then we spend another 30 minutes mentioning how I didn't want to offend you, black women. I didn't want to dismiss your experiences. I just wanted to give you just a slightly different way of viewing these things. Huh? And that's if we allow black men to voice their opinions and speak about their experiences that are different than black women. that might be more dire than black women. Oh God, Z, what language are you speaking right now? Speaking about how black men's existence in America might be more life or death, not social death, literal death, might be more extreme than black women's. How dare you dismiss black women's experiences? Is that what Mr. Z did? No, but it doesn't matter because that's what black women heard. Right? Huh. So yes, money allows you to practice a certain form of patriarchy that quote unquote you would rather not, and that if you could you would dismantle. Okay, yeah, okay, yep. But I already addressed this. That's what. Do you recall why you jumped on the panel, the first conversation we had? I was literally like saying this type of thing. So we could talk about your ideals as much as we want, but it's pretty damn hypocritical for a couple of brothers, part of the black left, to literally be living the life. I don't care what your ideals are, and then chastise black men about aspiring for this life, which most black men don't even have the verbiage for. They're that Adam, I'm not even sure if that's what they're aspiring for. But fine, even if they were, it's really hypocritical for you to be living it. Once again, I'm not talking about your ideals. And then tell black men, why do you want this so bad? Are you sure that? Huh? Let's speak about Derek Jackson. FD, you want to talk about the Black Manosphere was right yet? Are you ready? Are you ready to speak about how the Black Manosphere was right about Derek Jackson, and the Black Manosphere was right about BLM, and the Black Manosphere was right about Brickface Rhoda? Huh? Do we got to go through a list of things that y'all told us we were sexist, misogynistic, misogynorist pigs? We were, I got to say the word, we were incels. We wanted to step on black women. We wanted to dismiss black women's experiences. We wanted to minimize black women. We're the ones telling black women to get behind us. Ooh, I got something to say about that. And the story blew open and the Black Manosphere was right. Not kind of right, not sort of right, but all the way right. Or all the way correct, better yet. Do you want to have the conversation about y'all consistently have an egg on y'all face? There's a pun in there. And y'all just scurrying off like, oop, nothing to see here. Do y'all want to say how the Black Manosphere is right about the relationship between black men and black women, and how black women want black men to grovel at their feet? How black women want black men to grovel at their feet. That's what you were seeing with the Simone Biles Owens and Jonathan Owens. Well, if that's true, then why doesn't he shut up about it? Because it doesn't imitate the white Disney fairy tale type of situation. So I would much rather not know that she was the one that initiated with him. Why can't they lie about it? I want to live vicariously through Simone Biles. So I don't want to know that she initiated the conversation and the contact with him, and that she drove to go see him, and that both of them might see him as the catch. Ooh, God, ooh, Z, did you say that? Ooh. Y'all, dear black left, y'all are really gonna have to contend with how many black women want to be white women. FD, it's not up for debate, bro. It's not up for debate. I'm not talking about the card-carrying divestors and swirlers. I'm talking about your everyday black woman. Y'all are going to have to contend with this. The more you deny it, the more y'all going to have egg on your face every time any type of story come out and we catch black women's hand in the cookie jar. Huh. Right? So yes, we were right about Derek Jackson. Make sure you mention that in your gender wars piece, in your gender wars think piece. We weren't kind of right about Derek Jackson. We were all the way correct about Derek Jackson. Please make sure you mention that without taking jabs and being sarcastic. I don't think he could do it. And how black women flocked to Derek Jackson because not just that he was blowing smoke up their ass, but because he was jabbing at black men, and even after he was caught cheating, and even after the quote unquote emotional abuse and everything he put his wife through, those women still followed him. Yikes. Huh? Very important, right? Women saying that they send your videos to their boyfriends and they wish the men that they are interested in thought more like you. FD, do you understand how kind of frightening that is? They see you, see, brother, I think I have a good idea of what you're attempting to do. Understand the women see you as pandering to them, and they're sending the content to their boyfriends and to the men that they're interested in and the men that they are in intimate relationship with, because they want those black men to pander to them also. They're because you intellectualize it. This is when your advanced degree comes in. This is the okay, black men, I hear you. I feel you. I've lived it. I'm raising two black boys. I know what you're saying. I get it. I get it, black men. Yes. What you're saying largely is correct, but understand how we harm black women. And can we still default to black women and what they're saying and their feelings? Can we kind of sideline what's going on with us for what's going on with black women, even though they're inextricably linked? Can we kind of minimize what we're saying? Because, you know, a harmful us is really harmful. A harmful black women, well, that's not really a thing. It's a mosquito bite. Brother, you consistently do that. The entire black community, definitely you black bourgeoisie, consistently do that. You're not doing anything new in that respect. In that respect, you're not doing anything new. Okay, black men, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Yes, you got to go through it. Yes, there's even some toxic black women that put y'all through it, that target y'all, that use white supremacist tools to bludgeon y'all with. Yeah, it's a real thing. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. But, oh, don't you get it? The reason why we default to black women is because a toxic black woman is not nearly as dangerous as a toxic black man. What does decades of that do to a community? I didn't even mention white society being involved in that and putting the thumb on the scales for black women. I'm not even going to mention that, what I just did. Whoopsie. I'm speaking about black men and black women, black bourgeoisie, both black men and black women telling black men to shut up, because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Shut up about your plight. We're going to defer to and default to speaking about black women and what they got going on. And as Alvin said on waving the red flag, we'll get to you and your plights 200th on the list. When we solve all of black women's issues, it'll fix you. Isn't that Barack Obama, rising tide lifts all boats? Didn't we feel a certain way about that when Barack Obama said that to us? When we were speaking about the collective black plight, and he said a rising tide lifts all boats. That's literally what you and Alvin from waving the red flag, that's what y'all are saying to black men. But oh wait, black men shouldn't take that as disrespectful. Although the black community took it as disrespectful when Barack Obama said it. Okay, just making sure we're on the same page here, right? Huh? So understand, FD, black women, what you give them is this feeling of, okay, you know what, yeah, my black boyfriend might be going through a couple of things, my black fiance might be going through a couple of things, my black husband might be going through a couple of things, but if we fix what my issues are, his issues will automatically be fixed, and whatever doesn't, we'll get to it 200th on the list. Ain't that right, Alvin? That's why they send your content to their boyfriends, fiancés, and husbands. Huh? FD goes on to pretty much mention Z when he says, you know, the black manosphere, particularly this one person, and I might be paraphrasing, he might not have said it exactly like that, continues to forward this idea, right, that FD is just not misogynistic enough. We agree with him on so much. That's Z agree with him on so much. He's just not misogynistic enough. Let's give the definition of misogynistic real quick, or misogyny, better yet. Misogyny, hatred of or contempt for or prejudice against black women or women. Better yet, let's read that again because I wanted to say black women, but that's what misogynoir would be. Let's misogyny again. Hatred of, contempt for, or prejudice against women or girls. Is that what Mr. Z is asking you to do and be, FD? Or is Mr. Z telling you to tell black women what comes with this egalitarianism that y'all claim y'all advocating for and y'all trying to push? I said it to you multiple times, and yet you still defer back to, no, what y'all really want me to do is be misogynistic. No, I'm telling you the same thing Anne-Marie Slaughter said. Anne-Marie Slaughter, white woman, says when she tells, and I'm going to sum this up in a few sentences, when she tells women what egalitarianism really looks like, for those of them that want to be boss girls, when she tells them what it really looks like, that's when they jump off the train. I'm telling you to do that to black women. And with you and T Noir and apparently Khadijah, yes, once again, FD, I saw the clip with you and T Noir. Shout out to Leon. And when you and T Noir said, okay, the woman that has the house and she has the career and she has this and all she's missing is to check off as the man. How am I supposed to tell them that that's patriarchy? And you and T Noir both stood there and looked at each other through the camera, of course, and said, sure, I can't do it. Man, I can't do it neither. And there you go. And so if we in the black community have no issue wagging our finger at black men, whether it's from the highest heights, whether we're intellectualizing it, that's what you and Khadijah and T Noir and right and Ole, and that's what y'all do. Or whether it's all the way in the hood with the brothers and the sisters with the very limited vocabulary. And everybody is perfectly okay at wagging their fingers at black men in a vacuum. Not, oh, he did because she did. No, 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 no. We are perfectly okay with telling black men you can't even use white supremacy as an excuse. We are going to wag our finger at you in a vacuum. Everyone is perfectly okay with that. We have the vocabulary for it. And we don't care if we offended. We don't care if we come off misandrist. But when it comes time to tell black women, hey, you know, there's going to be a cost to egalitarianism. And how many of you are fretting like you're okay with that, but really you not? How many of you are talking this equally yoked thing, but really you got an issue when you earn more than a man? I didn't say he has an issue. I'm not just talking about his insecurities. You have an issue. Huh? How many of you are telling black women, hey, you know what you're saying, that's actually pretty damn sexist. You know there is a cost to what you're saying. And what y'all are admitting is that for the most part, none of you are. Huh? What y'all are admitting, from Alvin to Ole, shout out to Ole. She was an attorney for men and their issues, and she worked with young black boys and men. Thank you, Ole. But let's be very clear. And I'm gonna get to what Ole said a little bit later. Right? How many of you are actually grappling with the women don't want egalitarianism? Goddamn Z. That's why y'all hesitate to tell them what it actually looks like. FD, I told you, you thought I was just talking about the boss girl feminists. No, I am not. The majority of women, Western women, are hypocritical. I'm not talking about men's hypocrisy right now. They want patriarchy by feminist specifications. They want pick and choose patriarchy. Y'all got to grapple with that even on the left. I'm not talking about the liberals. I'm talking about the progressives. Huh? even on the left, even for the quote unquote radical black women, radical women writ large, huh? When you tell them what it actually looks like, huh? You said Bell Hooks has, maybe five bad takes out of 5,000. I guess one of them is when she was having that conversation with Gloria Steinem. And when Gloria Steinem started to talk about how the greatest love of her life was some white dude that didn't have anything, Bell Hooks said, "Oh yeah, you could keep him over there." Essentially, yeah, huh? Yeah, that is reflected across the board, bro. Y'all could call it what y'all want. You could try to find a new word for it. It's patriarchy. All that, I'm okay if I earn more than a man. I just wonder if he's gonna be the one that's insecure. What about his ego? I just want to make sure that he can provide for him as long as he can do for himself, as long as he's not in the way, as long as he's not insecure, as long as he's not trying to sabotage me. And then we give those women those type of men, and they're like, oh, huh? How many women actually mean it? I'm using black women and black men's intimacy to have a larger conversation about, are black women really okay with black men speaking for themselves? Ooh. And every once in a while, a black man speaking for himself doesn't perfectly align with a black woman and what she's saying and how she's advocating. Or would black women much rather be the guardians and they pick and choose which black men get to speak, and those black men sound exactly like them? Hey, Irby. Oops. Are black women really in the position to pick and choose which black men get to speak, which black men they get behind, and those black men sound exactly like them? Do black women really want a black community where black men get to speak for themselves? And every once in a blue, that speaking for themselves does not sound exactly lockstep with what black women are saying? Or are black women more comfortable with being the ones to speak for the black community, being the backbone of the black community, and then they're the ones who get to tell the community which black men get to speak, which black men should be heard, which black men aren't toxic, dependent on what black women define toxic as? Oops. Huh? FD, is it truly misogyny? Once again, the definition of misogyny is hatred of, contempt for, or prejudice against women or girls. Is it truly misogyny that Mr. Z is telling you that we want you to practice a little bit more, show a little bit more? Or is Mr. Z telling you, tell women what egalitarianism really look like? I said it to you in the first conversation we had. When you tell black women what and women in general, what egalitarianism really look like, what equality really look like, they throw a damn temper tantrum because that is not what they're asking for. FD, foreign man in a foreign land. I'm not mentioning Professor Odie in this because he know and he said it. I'm talking about all the rest of you that's playing 1 foot in and 1 foot out. What the women are actually saying, and y'all all know it. Y'all all know it. Y'all just have an issue with actually saying it. They want men, and this is the intimate sense, but I'm gonna take it out of there in a minute. They want men that protect, provide, and shut up. Now they're going to hide behind 4 and 5 syllable words and academic terms and books and phrases. But at the end of the day, when you boil it down to as Little words is humanly possible. It's provide, protect, and shut up. Y'all really have to grapple with the fact that the black community is a matriarchy if you want to be kind, a gynocracy if you want to be accurate, and there are black women that want to keep it that way. Yes, even your intellects and your academics. Yes, even your progressive ones. Their only issue is that black men don't have the resources to provide, protect, shut up, and then we'll call that egalitarian. The black community truly has to grapple with this, right? Huh. So there's a part where Ole pretty much speaks to divestors, and she straight up says, "Look," and but she says black men are also the least desirable. I think Asian men have something to say about that, but fine. Ole speaks to the divestors, and she just straight up said, "It's not that you don't want. It's not that you don't want the white men. It's that white men don't want you." And Ole and FD have a real conversation about the type of black women that white men tend to date when they do. And it's these very Afrocentric looking sisters with the fro and the onk. We've mocked that. We've made fun of that in the black manosphere. We know, right? She talking all that pro black stuff, but she going back home to white men. Wait a minute, FD. When I said that, you said no. The second conversation. Olay just said it and you said yes. Uh-oh. Anybody remember that? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And the sisters with the hard wigs. Although she doesn't rock a hard wig, that's the Candace Owens type. Huh? So black women with the hard wigs and the pro-black except for this white peen black women. Huh? And for the most part, white men aren't checking for black women because it's an anti-black society. As I continue to say, let's say it again for the 1 zillionth time. Attractive black women are attractive. Attractive black women are appealing. The problem that attractive black women have is that they're not white. Goddamn. They're not white and they can't produce white babies for white men. And there you go. Swirlers, divestors, and other black women who are not hard card carrying swirlers and divestors, this is your issue. Not enough white, Latino, and Asian men, indigenous men, whoever non black man, are willing to marry black women, are willing to be in serious long term relationships and produce children and live with black women and have to be in the passenger seat of black women's life and seeing and experiencing, not fully, what black women live through in this anti-black system. So yes, they will have sex with black women because black women are attractive and appealing, and funny black women are funny, and interesting black women are, well, interesting. But do they want to live that with black women? The vast majority of non-black men said no. Thank you, Ole, for saying it, but we already knew. The black manosphere has already been saying that it is not necessarily to jab at black women. It's telling black women maybe you don't want to, or maybe you shouldn't, or maybe it wouldn't behoove you to beat up on black men because your interracial fantasies can't be fully realized because white men and non-black men aren't checking in that way. Huh? And yes, there are non card carrying swirlers and divestors. Once again, I'm speaking about black women who are not card carrying swirlers and divestors who have an issue with black men because black men, for the most part, cannot perform white hegemonic masculinity. Huh? which is interesting because the issue that white men, white Latino men mainly, but Latino men, indigenous men, Asian men, etc., have with black women is that black women can't produce for them, well, fully Asian children, fully white children, fully indigenous children, etc. Latino is different because we understand that Latino group is a bit different with the way it's categorized, right? So shout out to Ole for actually saying it, but we already knew, right? FD admitted and said that black men don't get to talk for themselves. Then who speaks for black men? FD. Uh-oh. Ole admitted it too. We'll get to that in a minute. Who speaks for black men, FD? If black men don't get to speak for themselves, who speaks for black men? White racist men? White problematic men? White men that are the real misogynist? Uh-oh. And who else, FD? Black LGBTQ men? Yikes. And who else, FD? Black women, maybe? Uh-oh. And why would black women be allowed to speak for straight black? And what other community, not just in America, I would argue on planet Earth, where the women get to speak for the men in their issues that might be a slightly different or distinct from the women's issues? Where else? Once again, we come right back to the question of why is white society allowing and actually forwarding and far more interested in hearing black women speak for black men and hearing LGBTQ men, black men, speak for straight black men? Why is this the thing? Huh? Jake, she currently has a black boyfriend. Huh? Why is this a thing? Once again, the black community has to grapple with why is it just the fact that black women are quote unquote more institutionally educated than black men? Huh? Why is it that black women get to pick and choose, white racist society gets to pick and choose which black men get elevated? Huh? This is a conversation. I enjoyed that conversation that FD and Ole had. And I'm looking forward to seeing the FD signifier gender war think piece. But FD, are you going to be honest about what's going on here? You are the brother. You were in the PhD program. You and Ole have both worked with black men and boys. Y'all know what it is. How many of y'all were willing to say it? Straight up say it. Huh? Ole said herself, we think we're, and I'm paraphrasing, we think we know what's in the best interest of black men, and we never actually ask black men what they feel and think is in the best interest of, well, themselves. Mr. Watkins, thank you for the Cash App. Thank you for the Cash App. Right? I'm not going to say your first name because I don't know if you want it out there. So, Mr. Watkins, thank you for the Cash App. Right? Talking about that. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Talking about that, right? Huh. Once again, that is an issue, Ole. That is a major issue. And you're right. Thank you for actually acknowledging this when you saw FD Signifier's Baby Boy video, right? Baby Boy think piece. And acknowledging that when you had the client that you were working with, that in you know, Ole dealing with the nuanced feelings of this man is an a-hole, speaking about one of her clients that she was working with, but also he had a point. I'm trying to tell him, that I got the case dismissed and I'm doing what's in his best interest, and he's telling me, how can you do what's in my best interest if you're not even letting me talk? If you don't know what's in my best interest, I didn't even say it yet. Huh? What it does actually sound like, and let me just get right to it, is that y'all are just trying to get black men comfortable with black women being the face and the lead and the backbone of the black community, and black men playing kind of Robin to their Batman, and being not just comfortable with that, but desirous of being in that position, seeing that as the natural order of things, and have fun trying to convince the young black boys and men that that's the way it should be. Have fun with that, huh? And everything else will be seen as toxic. You know, if y'all recall the second conversation that I had with FD Signifier, we got into the conversation of the Asian community and Asian women and white men's relationships just for a minute or two, right? We kind of veered off. Mr. Z took it there, but we veered off and mentioned that. And FD was like, I don't know. And I was like, no, you know, there's a there. And he pretty much said to me, and I'm going to paraphrase this, like, yeah, but it's just like essentially the angle that I'm coming at. I'm because of who we are in the black manosphere, we're not to be trusted. Imagine that. Okay, y'all are right about that. Okay, fine. Y'all are right about that. That's if they're willing to admit it. I'm not even saying that they're willing to admit it, but fine. Okay, y'all are right about this. Okay, y'all were right about that too. Okay, y'all were right about this also. Okay, y'all were right about this too. Okay, this should be taken into consideration. But because of the angle y'all are coming from, I can't really say it's the angle. Y'all are toxic. Y'all are misogynistic. Y'all are misogynorist. It doesn't matter how correct you are about this, that, and that, because you're coming from a toxic view, because we see you as sexist, because we see you as misogynistic and misogynorist. We got to stuff you in the closet and tell you to shut up. Huh? This is actually a great take, PK. This is actually a great take. And PK says Z is a bleeding heart and is also willing to engage with them to refine his views, which is fine. This is true. That's actually a really great take, right? Yeah, and I remember this. And Compassionate says, I'm not looking forward to anything from FD. He's already admitted he'll um, omit seven lie for clout and money. What's the point of even listening to anything someone like that says? You know, Compassion, I would have been more hesitant and more apprehensive to what you're saying until I watched this conversation with him and Ole. And he admitted that he had a conversation, like he was going to jump out the window. So he probably would have been a little bit more aligned with us. Maybe not when it came to the Simone Biles Owens and Jonathan Owens thing, but T Noir and Khadijah reeled him back. And I wonder what he would have said that would have that caused them to tell him, hey, right? And so there's that, and there's also him admitting to me when he had that second conversation with me that, you know, he doesn't want to spend too long saying anything to the women because first of all, he doesn't think it's his place, and I'm okay with that. I disagree, right? I disagree, but I'm okay with that. And also because he doesn't want black boys and young black men to use maybe one or two critiques that he might have of some of the ways black women are conducting themselves, or a certain type of black woman is conducting herself or themselves. He doesn't want these the men and boys that consume his content to use that as ways to bludgeon women. Yeah, but then we have no problem with the myriad of ways we watch black men and black boys be critiqued and insulted and demeaned and belittled by black women and other black men, all the way at the top in the ivory towers to all the way in the bottom in the gutter. I didn't say gutter, I said gutter. So from top to bottom are black women intellectuals, black male intellectuals, black male feminists, even the ones that are not card carrying, all the way to the bottom to the brothers and sisters that can barely stitch two words together and form a coherent sentence and statement. We are perfectly okay with all of those people insulting and belittling black men under the guise of constructive criticism, tough love, and defending and protecting black women. So, yes, to the woman who said in the comments to when I was speaking to Diallo Kenyatta and Skip Coons the other night, yes to her that when she was like, so you're saying what about the women? Yes, Z is saying what about the women? Yes. Aren't you more than half of the black community? Yes, I am saying that. Yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. How do we over-index on critiquing black men, really insulting them and belittling them because we want them to be white patriarchs, but kind of not really? We want them to be not just bleeding heart liberals. We want them to be progressive, but also have the resources of the sharks, the white male sharks. How in the hell is this supposed to work? And then we don't ever say anything to the women about, number one, how hypocritical that is. Number two, how that's not really a thing. And number three, what egalitarianism really means for black women. So we leave black women out here to be incensed and rageful at everyday black men for not being as progressive as a FD signifier or foreign man in a foreign land. When you hear progressive from black women, just read beating up on other black men, insulting other black men, and just being really intellectual about it. Every once in a while, telling black women, okay, I need you to see black men's humanity, but all the rest of the time beating up on black men. Which FD doesn't do it like that, really, but foreign man in a foreign land and consciously, on the other hand, uh-oh. Alvin, on the other hand, yikes. Right? At the end of the day, you can talk about black men's plight and everything, but at the very end, you got to minimize it by saying, hey, I hear you, but understand we do far more damage with what we say and do compared to what black women say and do. And that completely wipes away everything you said before, by the way. Right? Huh. So we want the humanitarianism, we want the feminist, intersectional feminist analysis, we want the way to view women, LGBTQ, black children, black, just every quote unquote marginalized group within the black community and even outside of it. We want that lens and critique from black men, but then we also want them, and even Diallo spoke on this, and not in the stream that I jumped on, but another stream he talked about toxic masculinity. So he even said this because he sees it also. We want these men to have this type of lens. We want black men to have this lens, but then we also want them to be sharks when it comes to resources and provide black women with a comfortable life. I'm not even talking about those sisters that's boss hogs. I'm not talking about the Ebony K. Williams right now. Huh? I'm not talking about the Bowsers. Oh, she's a super hypocrite. Y'all ain't never say nothing to her about it, though. At least not publicly, which, okay, fine. You want to keep it behind closed doors. That's if y'all ever said anything, but fine. I'm not speaking about Ebony K. Williams and them. I'm speaking about your average college educated black woman. You want to know why they so goddamn single? It's the hypocrisy. It's the negative liberty y'all refuse to put on the lens of. Isn't that they just want to freestyle and do whatever they want to do, but have a man subsidize it? Pay for it and say nothing. Never exercise the power that comes with the resources. I promise you, you put that lens on and so much of black women's behavior makes sense. But y'all don't want to pick up the glasses. I get it. It's scary. Huh? I get it. Olay admits that she had an argument with a sister. I don't know where she said she was. I don't recall, better yet, where she said she was, but she got into a full blown argument with a black woman about black men's voting patterns. The black woman was pretty much the other black woman was pretty much speaking about us like we're these conservative raving lunatics essentially. And when Ole told her, no, actually the vast majority of black men vote Democrat, and like she said the black woman gave her pushback, and she's like arguing the black woman down. Ole, I don't know. It's difficult having this conversation with black people who act like they don't get it. The black women we're speaking about, from the intellectuals and the professionals all the way down, they need these justifications to see black men as the problem. It didn't matter if you're correct or not. She uses this black men are secretly conservative and they want to put us in the barefoot in the kitchen like white men do to white women. They want to bring about this Handmaid's Tale when it comes to black women. They use that to justify their negative ideas, thoughts, and feelings towards black men. It didn't matter what you're saying. Let me say something to Ole and FD that Mr. Z used to say a lot in the black manosphere. Black women, for the most part, are telling everyone, I don't know if y'all realize it or not, F your facts. F your facts. Forget your facts. Freak your facts. However you want to say it without actually using the F word. If it does not align with my worldview and my feelings, if those facts don't align with what I already believe, and this is an American thing, this is an American thing, this is a human thing. But in the black community, because we don't really have those checks and balances when it comes to black women, they just get to run amok with it. If your facts do not align with what I believe and feel particularly concerning black men, if it's in any way positive, and FD spoke about this when it came to divestors, he don't realize, or at least he pretends like he don't. That's not just divestors that think like that about black men. Anything that does not paint black men in a negative light, anything that is not negative about black men that I do not get to use as a way to justify my negative feelings and emotions about them, and then I get to then use that to justify my behavior, my negative behavior and rhetoric towards black men. Forget it. I don't even want to hear it. Right? Y'all really have a difficult time grappling with the fact that the black community is a matriarchy if you want to be kind, a gynocracy if you want to be accurate, and all the black left in particular has done for the past 5 and 6 decades is intellectualize the reason why it should remain that way. That's if we're willing to grant that they even acknowledge it really is. First of all, we have to have them acknowledge that the black community is a matriarchy, a gynocracy if you want to be accurate. But for those few that admit it, and FD admitted it on Bernard Riley's channel, shout out to Edward Anderson, for the few that are willing to admit it, you have to admit also that black women want to keep it that way. They don't want to acknowledge it is that way, but they do want to keep it that way. They don't actually want egalitarianism where black men have an equal amount of say, an equal amount of political pull, right? No, they are okay with black men earning the most and then deferring to black women. That is the goal here. I can't get my Johnny wet for a man that I'm lukewarm on his physical attraction. If I can't get the best looking 6'4" tall chisel chin, 6-pack abs, 8-inch or better black man, if I can't get that dude, then I can't really get wet for a dude that doesn't have the resources. Okay, fine. Okay, fine, ladies, cool. The 5'8" dude got to be a damn near millionaire. Cool. What the ladies are saying, and I know I sound hyperbolic, but you got to tell me I'm wrong, though. Forget how I sound in my delivery. Tell me I'm wrong and show me how I'm wrong. For the masses of black women, what they're saying through action, not just words. For some of them, words, especially on the internet, but okay, even in real life. FD, you want to tell me touch grass now? What they're showing through action is, I want the man who earns more than me. I just want him to defer to me. That's why I say men's funds, women runs. That's what it is. That's what they're going to call egalitarianism. That's what egalitarian means to them. Men's funds, women runs. Not just in an intimate sense between one black man and one black woman, but the overall community. Black men come in with the bulk of the resources, but black women are the face and they run it. They are who white society defers to in all things black community. They are who black men defer to in all things black community. And this is difficult to believe because a handful of y'all know black women, or you might be the black woman that doesn't think and say this. Huh? Think about the conversation you've had so far, FD, that at least I've seen. Right? Think about the content that Mr. Z has been privy to concerning the black left. Everything from Bowser to Julesy to T-Noir to you to Fab Socialism to Foreign Man in a Foreign Land to waving the red flag, right? To nappy-headed jojoba, to Cat Black. All of these people I'm almost certain you're in community with. A couple of people I haven't also mentioned with slightly smaller channels. Think of all of the content that I've seen you either in or I'm almost certain you've come in contact with, and tell me the end result isn't black women being the face and running the black community and black men playing Robin to their Batman, and then us calling that egalitarianism. That many of these content creators are just attempting to get black men comfortable playing second fiddle to black women. Because sexism is black men not being comfortable playing second fiddle to black women. And think about what you said to Edward Anderson, to Ed, on Bernard Riley's show. If you forget, go back and listen to what you said. And then also think about all of the content coming from the black left. and ask yourself, is that sustainable? And how many black men are going to sign up for that have the resources? See, brothers that don't really got a choice, yeah, they stuck with boss hog black women. Huh? I didn't say boss girl feminists. I said boss hog black women. Brothers that's fresh out the pen, brothers that don't earn enough, they can't sustain themselves by themselves financially. But once you start creeping in, adjusted for inflation, once you start creeping into that, depending on the state you live in, that 60,000 ish, 65,000 ish a year plus or more, where you can maybe afford your own apartment, you'll be scraping by, right? Definitely once you start getting to $75,000 a year or more, especially if you have a roommate. Now, if you have a roommate, you definitely, a male roommate, assuming you're not LGBTQ, right? Once again, this depends on the state and the city you live in. Once you start earning about 65, 70 plus, a woman financially helping you with it, that's negotiable. You don't need her like that. For those brothers, tell me how this is sustainable for those men to truly participate in the black community, uplift black women, uplift black women's children, because once again, the majority of black men don't have children. Do for community. Why would they? Uh-oh. Huh? When we have so many black professionals, black intellectuals, black content creators, black YouTubers, black TikTok content creators, or black TikTokers, I guess, all pretty much telling black men, protect, provide, and shut up. Huh. And for the men that don't got the resources like that, don't have the resources like that, then you definitely shut up, because you're not in the position to say anything. Now, FD, Ole, we can attempt to intellectualize. Oh no, that's not what we're saying. What we're really saying, actually, Z, you're the toxic one for even bringing this up. Yeah, that sounds nice. That's not what we're saying. Is that if that's what you're misconstruing this to, then that proves that you're the toxic one and you're the sexist one. Yeah, that sounds nice. Huh? FD speaks about the cross pollination between how many people, brothers, listen to him and listen to Kevin Samuels. Yeah, there are things that you say that we agree with, and then there are things that Kevin says that we agree with. The issue is when it comes to a lot of what the women are saying, you turn a blind eye to it or you minimize it. Uh-oh, not just saying, but doing. Goddamn. You minimize it. We have yet to see a real critique of Kevin Samuels callers. Oh, damn, Z. From the left. The left pretends like Kevin was talking to his goddamn self. Y'all refuse to talk about the thousands of black women who called in to Kevin Samuels' show over the span of give or take 2 years, that at the end of the day, whether they were educated or not, whether they were doing well financially or not, boiled black men down to nothing but a walking wallet, overglorified guard dog, sex toy, and cheerleader. Huh? This is something y'all are going to have to grapple with. FD signifier, Olay, and the rest of black cornbread tube. Huh? You could continue to put out these think pieces, right? You could continue to insult us, belittle us. You could continue to call us sexist and misogynistic. Once again, say it again, Z. Black Enterprise Institute. Single Latina and black women have the least amount of wealth in America. This is not sustainable, y'all. If y'all can't find ways to connect black women to black women will starve to death in the streets. And I'm not saying black men won't too, but if y'all care about black women, they will starve to death in the streets. And guess what? You continuing to bludgeon black men with this. By the way, actually you're the issue. And even if you're not the issue, if we take care of the women's issue first, then that should take care of your issue. Continuing to do that leaves black women destitute. Huh? The article said nothing about single black men having the least amount of wealth in America. It said single Latina and black women. And who has the lowest marriage rate in America? Yikes. Y'all could, no, you don't. Marriage is patriarchal. And are you sure you want to get married? Fine. Tell black men don't get married because it's patriarchal. You know who hurts? Black women. Yikes. We already established the white and Latino dudes ain't checking really. We already know what black women's interracial marriage rate is. If you adjust if you control for, better yet, married black women, then it's 12-13%. If you count all marriageable age black women, it's something like 4%. And there you go. So interracial marriage ain't gonna save them. So somebody has to get down with black men's program. And this is Mr. Z flexing that quote unquote misogyny. You continue to badger the black men, you continue to intellectualize misandry, and you will continue to get these results. You have a real conversation with black women, fine, you want egalitarianism, but I don't believe it. You continue to not tell black women what egalitarianism really looks like, what it means for them, and you continue to go down this road. I didn't even say get on black men's program, although all this does is see, this is why Mr. Z said a black gender war in FD. Listen to this. A black gender war, black men lose a black gender war. Black men lose a black gender war. Ooh, they lose that black gender war. Ooh, it's ugly. Black women just lose it harder. Do with that what you will. If there's a black gender war, and I've heard a number of my elders say there is no black gender war, it's over. Okay, fine enough, fine. But if there is a black gender war, black men lose the black gender war. Black women just lose it harder. And the Black Enterprise Institute and the census data show that. We have had white society, we have black intellectuals, black intellectuals putting the thumb on the scales for black women for decades. And their wealth still doesn't rise to black men's wealth. Their income still is not more than black men's income. They still don't have as many businesses. They still don't employ more people. Their credit score is still not better. Once again, black men and black women are attached by the hip. It's not up for debate. But if this is a black gender war and white society and black intellectuals have thrown their weight behind black men, and they do all this little tacit talk about black boys and black men and their upliftment, then eat the consequences. Right? Eat the consequences. Huh. And to Herbie. Shout out to Herbie. I first saw him on Khadijah's channel. Goddamn Z. LGBTQ brother. Yeah. Um, Funny, right? Um, Quick, right? Witty. Issue. What is it, Z? FD, if you said you had a conversation with Herbie and he said you're a bit too kind because and you're a bit too not apathetic, that's not the word I'm looking for. You're a bit too understanding of, I guess, straight black men, although you are one, but okay. And too generous maybe is the word. And you're not considering how, I guess, our rhetoric hurts LGBTQ brothers. Huh. FD, do you realize what all of these people are asking you to do? You could say, oh, yeah, Mr. Z and the Black Manosphere, and for them, I'm not misogynistic enough. And then for Irby and them, I'm not beating up on black men enough. You got to make a choice. I see you trying to walk that tightrope. I see you. I see you. I know you're going to default to the women because you and Foreign Man in the Foreign Land and Alvin, Josh, and Eddie, Eddie and the Eddie and the Chipmunks and no Alvin and the Chipmunks and Eddie. Mr. Z, how you gonna stumble across your own joke? I don't know. It happens, right? Alvin and the Chipmunks and Ed and Eddie waving the red flag. That is, you guys. All of you have pretty much admitted that you're gonna default to putting the thumb on the scales for the ladies, for black women. Okay, fine. That's your prerogative. And I guess we'll continue on this road. By the way, y'all could try to use social media to fill in the gap that Kevin Samuels left in his passing, right? Y'all can attempt to do that. Let's see how that works in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Let's see where black women's wealth is. Let's see where black women's marriage rate is. Huh? Let's see where black women are socially, politically. Huh? I already said economically when I said wealth. Let's see. Let's see how many black men. I'm not speaking about the black men part of the black manosphere. Reverse course and start to do for women that they're black women that they're not intimately attached to. Start to do for black children that they're not intimately attached to those children or to those children's mothers. Let's see where that goes. Y'all want to fill in the blank space, right? And show how Kevin was toxic and this black manosphere is toxic. Fine. Only time will give us the answer of how this works or doesn't. Right? And Barry Little says, and thank you for the super chat. Black men and the black manosphere have our own scholars and, most importantly, agenda. Agreed. The only ones who need to speak up for us are us. Agreed. But we know, as of right now, for the longest, and FD admits this, and Ole admits this also, it's been black women and a handful of select Negroes that represent something to white society or to black women or that are non-threats to any other group of people's order. That's black women, that's white racist societies, that's non-black folks, etc. They admit this. And once again, I have to ask, dear Ole, dear FD signifier, why? The question is why? Why is it that black men for the longest have not been able to speak for themselves? And this society has deferred to black women. What is the dominant society trying to say? What are they showing by deferring to black women? Huh? That's the question. Huh? So Irby kind of getting on you for being a bit too generous and a bit too understanding about this kind of fictitious, homophobic, sexist uncle. Okay, well, you can continue to do what all the rest of them do and let me know how that works. Well, we have a whole bunch of intellectuals, black intellectuals, saying they're fighting the good fight and they're here to uplift black people, namely black women, and getting very little results, no results, bad results. FD, you yourself, and I'm hearing more and more people say it, are speaking about how these institutions of higher learning are actually recreating a colonial mindset in black people, the miseducation of a Negro. Didn't I say this to you the first conversation, kind of, sort of? I wonder what would be beneficial for white folks coming from black intelligentsia, black academics, when we know already there's a 60-40 split in college enrollment, women to men in America writ large, and it's even more exaggerated. I think it's like 80-20, no, not 80-20, like 70-20, I mean 70-30 when it comes to black women and black men. What would a whole lot of black women, whether they go to HBCUs or PWIs, doesn't really matter. What would a crap ton, shout out to Toya, a crap ton of college educated black women who, as we're coming to terms with, who have attended these institutions of higher learning, indoctrination camps, institutions of higher learning, what would a whole lot of black women who have attended these institutions, who come back to the black community with their learning, indoctrination, what would that mean and look like for black men? The masses of black men who largely have not attended those institutions of higher learning, indoctrination. Huh. I wonder, how would what those women are attempting to do, or what those women believe, or what those women think, or what those women feel, how would that adversely impact both those black women themselves, black men, and black children? I wonder. Colonizing agent, anyone? I wonder. Huh? Oh man, goddamn! How did this end up on my screen? Ah, every once in a while, something just pop up on the screen. I don't even know. Let me get this off the screen real quick. Wait a minute, my finger slipping all over the screen and stuff. Wait, come on, finger. Come on, screen. Oh, my phone is freezing. Look at this. Oh crap! How did this end up on the screen? Oh, okay. Let me take that off. Oh man. Huh? Huh? Every once in a while that happens. Yikes. Huh? And once again, Barry Little, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. In Detroit says, and thank you for the super chat, had my stepdaddy believed that black women were killed by black men every 5 hours. Wow. When told him that factually statistics where black men were killed more than black women, he was like, BS. I was like, then who were raising them as single parents? Look, man, like, the propaganda, and Olay admits this, right? Olay admits this. MD admits this. The propaganda, the anti-black man propaganda, is so deep and so strong. Pause. Right? That not only do non-black people believe this, but black people believe this, namely black women, but clearly black men also believe the anti-black male propaganda, right? It's that serious. And what does it mean for a black community, for a community of this marginalized group to believe the worst of itself, the worst, especially of one particular demographic, straight black men? What does it mean for the group of people that largely attends these colonizing institutions, y'all could call it institutions of higher learning all you want, to be able to intellectualize the fact that they believe most most virulently the worst of another subgroup in their group? In other words, what does it mean for the black community writ large to believe the worst of itself? Then black women who, more than black men by a significant number, attend college and university, whether it's HBCUs or PWIs, really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. What does it mean for those women to now be able to intellectualize their misandry towards black men? And then, even worse, if you're a Bowser who attended Harvard, you also have connections with white folks, right? That are part of the upper echelon of our society. It's pretty frightening stuff. It's pretty damn frightening stuff. Think about Bowser, Harvard, Ebony K. Williams. What's the school in North Carolina she went to? I can't remember. It's right there. I can't recall. Right? Amanda Seales, Stanford. Think about that. These are all notable schools. What are they producing? Huh? So you take the misandry that many of these black women were raised in anyway, this anti-black male misandry. Then they attend some of the most prestigious institutions in America, and all it does is allow for them to intellectualize that misandry and back it up with bell hooks quotes and some out of context data. And then you wonder why these black women are single like a loose leaf paper. White racist society is too damn white racist. Latinos, racist and colorist. Asians, same, whether that's South Asian or East Asian. Indigenous folks, not enough. And black men, you think you're better than. Now what? Huh? How is this supposed to work for black women? Ah, it's not. Nor does it. So, I checked out that FD signifier and Ole. Shout out to all of you who sent it to me, who tagged me in it. Shout out to Leon. Shout out to Millennial Name Only. I think a couple of others tagged me in it, like or sent it to me in email. I already had it in my history, y'all. Right? I was already gonna watch it, but thank y'all anyway. Right? Thank y'all anyway. And Chief Ruckus says, we direct all of our shorts, pause, to Compassionate, right? And Chief Ruckus says, well, Mr. Z, you have to make a short with what you said. I'll leave that for Compassionate, right? Let Compassionate do his magic. You know, um I meant what I said when I said, yeah, what about the women? Are they not the most quote unquote educated group in Black America, at least institutionally educated, right? Are they not um, the majority of the Black community? So, yes, what about the women? What about Black women? If we are telling Black men, Negro, you too sexist, you're too misogynistic, you're too misogynoirous, you're too colorist, you're too featurist, you're too texturous, you don't defer to Black women enough, you're toxic, right? You're aspiring to be a white patriarch. Okay, fine. We're telling Black men all of that. And even though they number the least, they're institutionally educated, indoctrinated, less than Black women. They consume less mass media than Black women. They consume less social media than Black women. What the hell? But yet we are hell bent on critiquing them and their behavior because we told ourselves that their impact, if they're toxic, their impact is greater than Black women's impact when Black women are toxic. That's our excuse. Okay, fine. And yet we say nothing to Black women who are a larger population of the Black community, who attend these institutions to be educated, indoctrinated, more than Black men, who are in political positions more than Black men, who attend church more than Black men, and yet we have less to say to them. And this is supposed to work how? Not only do we have less to say to them, even when we have, let's say, a not toxic critique of maybe a behavior being exhibited by a number of Black women that is toxic, we are told to stand down. Ain't that right, FD signified Teen Noir and Khadijah? How in the hell is this supposed to work? Oh, wait, it's not supposed to work. That's why it's not working. Or maybe it is working because that maintains the Black community being a matriarchy if you want to be kind, a gynocracy if you want to be accurate. Huh. Right? Yeah. And once again, thank you for the super chat, Detroit. Thank you for the super chat. Next super chat. Thank you for the super chat. KMS, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And KMS is, so these ass clowns, man, I love that term. That's why I use it all the time. These ass clowns with degrees want a Black man to run everything except his household and those in it. The man who can do that didn't get there being dumb. How do they blame to sell out that those men? Wait a minute. How do they blame to sell that to those men? Oh, how do they claim to sell that to those men? I don't know. I'm a little confused. I think that might be a typo somewhere, or maybe I'm reading this wrong. It happens. It happens. I realized I said the wrong word. Somebody said something yesterday, and I said psychological, and they was trying to say physical. And I was like, because I read it later on the replay, and I was like, oh, I said the wrong thing, right? But yeah, it happens. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I see what you're saying. Let's read that again. So those ass clowns with degrees want a Black man to run everything except his household and those in it. The man who can do that didn't get there being dumb. How do they thought the worst of receive the least contribute the most? Tolerant everything, demand everything. How do they expect Black men thought the worst of receive the least, contribute the most, tolerate everything, demand nothing? Look, I don't think. What am I saying? I think the average Black woman just wants what she wants because I think the average woman just wants what she wants. And the math doesn't have to math. They just want it to math. 1 + 1 = 2, but they want it to equal 7, and they don't care how it equals 7. I don't even think that's a woman thing. I think that's a human thing. I think the world forces men to come to terms with, you better make sure your equation equal what it needs to equal on the other side of that equal sign, if that makes sense. Right? I don't even think I think that's inherently a human thing, that we want what we want and it doesn't have to make sense. but the world forces boys that are going to become men to make it make sense. And if it doesn't, then starve and die in the middle of the streets. We don't care. We'll step over your dead body. We don't care. With women, on the other hand, there are these mechanisms that both men and women, primarily men, put up to shield women from the hypocrisy that is what they want not making sense. Right? Okay, you said you meant plan. Okay, I'm gonna try to read that one more again, but give me a second, right? But yeah, so I think that's something that our society has to grapple with. We put the guardrails up for women. And are there not homeless women? Yes. Are there not women in nursing homes and nobody comes to visit them? Yes. But for the most part, our society helps women with their network. It helps women. It kind of cushions women. So yeah, women get their heart broken and they have hurt feelings and they go through trials and tribulations. Yes. But we reserve the worst outcomes and the extremes, which is literal death. We reserve the majority of that for men. Right? We reserve the majority of that for men. Right? Even Olay and FD spoke of how, you know, we minimize the conservative women, even the social conservative women in the black community, and we hype up how many conservative, namely social conservative men there are in the black community, and then we minimize the liberals or the progressive, better yet, black men in the black community, and then we minimize, right, we minimize the black men who are on the left and then hype up the black women on the left. Yeah. But we do that across the board in the black community in a myriad of ways concerning black men and black women. Not just where they're aligned politically and socially, right? Thank you. And Big Kev says, good man equal do it for free, right? And let's think about, okay. I think this is a perfect allegory for what we're speaking of. Shirley Shepherd, or is it Sherry Shepherd? Sherry Shepherd, with the whole rent-a-husband thing that she was trying to advocate for with her homegirls. Look, I don't want to do anything sexual with your man, but essentially, can I rent him to come and put up some shelves and help me move a couple of things in my house? And like, y'all could call that community all you want. And it is, loosely speaking, a part of community, but we have to acknowledge that Sherry Shepherd cannot make it work with men, with black men. And so she has to resign herself to advocating for essentially renting out her homegirls' husbands. Right? I agree with this. And PK says, well, the left and the right answer is the same. Bootstraps. Yeah, lift yourself up by your bootstraps. And the right shows it whenever you start speaking about the plight of men, the plight of black men, and you start seeing the left do this well. Maybe it's because they don't know how to get along with women. And maybe it's because they're not truly self-actualized. And maybe it's because they have a toxic relationship with women. And maybe it's because they want women to be barefoot and pregnant. And why do you want to be married anyway? Right? And maybe they haven't truly self-actualized. Do you go to therapy? Yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right. The left goes about pull yourself up by your bootstraps in a different way than the right does, but the end result is still the end result. It's you. You are the problem. Black men. Right? Lithium, isn't that the funniest thing in the world? And Lithium says, but they are married. And FD tried to tackle that. But you made yourself look worse. Remember, me and you had this conversation, the first conversation. Y'all have to come to terms with and grapple with you're living the same patriarchal life. FD signifier, foreign man in a foreign land consciously. that you're chastising us for aspiring to. FD signifier, I said it. This is the reason that you jumped on the panel with me the first time because of what I said. What did you say, Z? I remember it clearly. Just admit to the Negroes with no money, Negro, you're gonna be out here with the LGBTQ and the brothers and the sisters freestyling, and you probably ain't gonna get married, and you're probably not gonna have children in a nuclear family if you do have kids. Say it. Y'all are too poor to live the life I'm living, so live vicariously through me. Uh-oh. Because you low-key kind of sort of somewhat said it when you said, yeah, Negro, I got money. Say it. All of you working class brothers, especially you brothers who are not college educated, or especially you brothers who don't have the advanced degree, y'all are gonna be out here with the women with the 2 and 3 kids. Y'all better make it work with them, negotiate. Y'all gonna be out here with the overweight sisters, with the chest tattoos, huh? Y'all gonna be out here with the reformed LGBTQ sisters. Y'all gonna be out here with the shout out to the brothers, the LGBTQ brothers, namely the T in LGBTQ. Have fun with that. Now, me, I'm an advocate for all of these people, although I'm not going to be in intimate relationship with any of them. I'm in a heterosexual nuclear family. I'm heterosexual. My wife is heterosexual. We have our kids in wedlock, right? I live a patriarchal life, but I don't advocate for patriarchy. I'm going to tell you, you're being toxic for speaking about my lifestyle and saying you don't want no parts of what all the other people around you are on. So live vicariously through me, but don't call it patriarchy. And don't speak up about the hypocrisy about how I'm living compared to how I'm speaking, and how you living compared to how you're speaking. Right? Huh. I did not know that. And Jake says, by the way, foreign man in a foreign land was born here, and he puts on a fake accent for views. Whether the accent is fake or not, the Bahamian accent is fake or not, that's not. But I didn't know he was born here, and his father works for the U.S. government. Okay, right? Huh, man. And then you wonder why there's a reactionary right now. That brothers that might have ordinarily voted Democrat, been somewhere on the left, don't become quote unquote centrist. They say F all that and go run in the complete extreme opposite direction. Why not? It's the same thing I told one of my mentors years ago with Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. I said, oh, you think the Bernie bro is going to vote for Hillary? And she was like, yeah, Z, they, that's the same thing with Barack and Hillary. Yeah, those people said they were not going to vote for Barack, and they ended up voting for Barack when Hillary lost. And I said, listen, these Bernie bros are not going to vote for Hillary. And who was right, Z? Z. Believe it or not, that was a black woman, and she admitted to I didn't pull no cheat sheet out of nowhere of her own volition. Damn, Z, you were right. You know I got to play dumb, right? Right about what? You were right. I didn't realize. Told you, huh? You wonder why there's a reactionary group of brothers right now. You wonder why there's a Bernard Riley, huh? Why there's an AB Media, huh? Because the left keeps on telling straight black men to shut up, provide, protect, and shut up. Be part of community. Translation: be the cleanup men for black women, and shut up. Right? That's what community is. Be the cleanup men for black women, and maybe in death they'll do a little play march about your death while pushing LGBTQ stuff and saying say her name about a sister that might have gotten less attention than you about her death. Maybe. Huh? And once again, Detroit, thank you for the super chat. Oh yeah, I already read KMS, and let me read this. And KMS says also, and once again, thank you for the super chat, KMS. The ethos of community is contribute and benefits. If if I'm supposed, quote unquote, if I'm supposed to do the bulk of the contributing and not even get a pat on the back, then f that community and everyone in it. Now, how they gonna sell this BS to us, bro? That's exactly what I'm saying. That's KMS. That is exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Every generation, at least for the past 3 generations, y'all tried selling this to young boomers, wasn't going. Xers, the whole generation, they went for it even less. Millennials, clearly not. Gen Z young black men are like Gen Z young black men, they don't even hear it. Once they hear the syllable of what about the community? Once they hear the first syllable, they even think they're about to hear what? They laughing and going in the opposite direction. These Gen Z black men, it's a joke. What? Right? They're not even trying to hear it. Every time y'all try to push this, provide, protect, and shut up, we might mention a little teeny tiny bit of your plight. Maybe if you play nice, which is kiss our ass. Every time, every generation y'all try to pull this and y'all fail at it. What homegirl, what the older black woman said, ain't nobody got time for that. Nope. No, absolutely not. No. Nice try though. Right? No, KMS, I'm in 100% agreement with you on this. I keep on saying it. How are you going to sell this stuff? How are you going to sell? You know what? Forget Z. Z is in his late 30s. You know, y'all ain't trying to talk to me. Y'all trying to get at those. What y'all really trying to do is get the 14 and the 12 and the 15-year-old the black boys to be comfortable with the impending BS. Every generation y'all try this. Let's walk through something. And FD, you said you grew up in a different type of situation with your mother and whatnot. Okay, fine. And you didn't grow up necessarily in the hood like that. Okay, fine. I want you to understand, single black moms be raising their sons that black women are sugar and spice and everything nice. They give us the game. For some of us, we get lucky and our mothers give us the game. And like let us know, like, yeah, there's gonna be a couple of wayward black women, but don't mind them. But for the most part, black women are sugar and spice and everything nice, and black men are the monsters. That's why you get brothers throughout high school, throughout college, going through that epiphany stage, getting ripped apart by the meanest group of people in Black America, black women, young black women, Jesus Christ, young black women. Yeah, they may not be bitter like their mamas yet. Ooh, but their mouth are dinner raisers. I'm not even speaking about institutionally what our society is doing to the black boys. I'm not even speaking about the black female teachers yet. I'm just speaking about the little girls and the young women in high school and college. I didn't even speak about the sexist, misandrist black female teachers yet. Huh? So by the time you talking to a 27-year-old young black man, college educated or not, all of that, what his mom and his aunts and his grandmas was on, he resents them. And he resents brothers like you for lying to him. G anyone? G serotonin anyone? He not the only one. Huh? And then y'all think it's really black men in middle school and high school heartbreak crap. Bro, first of all, you FD, it fascinates me, and I think he really meant it. I don't think he was like pandering or placating me when I said, bruh, do you understand how many of these black women like are in a form of arrested development when it comes to their emotions because they still grappling with not being desirable when they were like 14, 15, 16 years old, middle school, high school things? This is not a black man thing. Y'all keep on putting that incel thing on us. FD, if you're going to talk about the gender war, please talk about, because you have a number of women that straight up said it so far, from Ostefco to Real Talk with Yanni, huh? So many black women are admitting they grew this angst not only from their mothers and what their mothers used to talk about with black men, but in middle school and high school, maybe even elementary school, about just feeling undesirable by black boys. You can't fix that. All you could do is teach the black boys, well, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. That's exactly what the black boys are already doing. That's why the black women, when they're in their 30s and 40s, are still mad about it. Because the black boys was like, she ain't that pretty to me, so I'm just gonna like, not really talk to her like that. 30 years later, they still feel a way about it. Huh? Lithium, the oldest one, already has a kid too, by the way. The oldest one has a kid. A newborn, if I'm not mistaken. Right? I don't really feel bad for them. Like, as much as Diallo talk, Diallo and FD, to me, I know y'all are not gonna believe me when I say this. They come off as men's men. Z, you did not say that. Y'all let that fool y'all if y'all want. Them dudes are not no pushover dudes. Neither one of them come off soft to me. Neither one of them come off soft to me. Right? I don't think either one of them are some. I don't see them as pussy. I'm gonna just call it for what it is. Neither one of them come off soft to me. Right? Don't let that leftist thing fool you. Nope. Right? I think this sounds nice. I think this is idealistic. Okay, yeah, that sounds nice. I don't think, man, look, Diallo don't come off soft to me. I don't. His wife is a PhD. Yes, right. He got two boys. You got two black boys. You ain't raising no two. And your oldest son has a child. You're not raising no goddamn soft ass sons. Nothing about Diallo gives me soft father, pushover father. Nothing about that. Nothing about FD gives me pushover soft father. And if you're not a pushover soft father, you're not a pushover soft man. Huh? Exactly. And from Africa came says Diallo isn't soft, but FD said he purposely tuck his tail not to argue with his wife. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. He still don't give me soft. Right? Yeah, you ain't never seen him flame his wife on a video. I've seen him flame his wife on a video. Right? And Leon says, in my opinion, with my experience, not giving those girls attention in high school caused them more damage. I talked to my mother about issues with these girls. It got to the point that a girl called me gay. Bro, I got called that too. Because you're being nice and not saying you're being nice and not saying, and I had this a bit in college, but not really. It was really after college, right? And you have sisters with whole sleeves, or they got the chest tattoo, and they're trying to, like, you could see like they're trying to be like reform hood chicks. They may or may not be just looking for you to save them. They're looking for you to save them. That's not even me. But they're trying to try something new, and you're like, I'm not gonna be your crash test dummy. Like, I appreciate that you're no longer trying to be with the wannabe D boys and whatever, but I'm sorry, I'm not either physically attracted to you, or I just don't want to deal with that, right? Jake said no. I ain't even gonna read that aloud, but I okay, right? Man, and Leon, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Man, I think he went to Clark Atlanta. He said he went to Clark. And Compassion says FD from suburb of Chicago. He developed his intersectional mass to fit in college, secured the bag, and now he's stuck. Right now, this part, I don't know about Diallo. I think Diallo's a true believer. I think FD is a partial believer. FD is about his money. And Jake says they are both hypocrites, though. I don't think Diallo's a hypocrite. I think he's a true believer. I just don't think. I think Diallo is who FD think he is. Where you're a true believer, but your life may just not align with what you're talking about. But I think Diallo's willing to sacrifice some of the money for his beliefs. I don't know if FD's willing to do that though. Especially when FD says, like, right now, like, he's working on his health, and much of the reason why he's in the gym is for his, I didn't know he damn near got hospitalized because he was overworking himself. Yeah, bro, you making that money now. You making that good YouTube money. You ain't gonna sacrifice the check. You sit it yourself, and you making that YouTube check fat, ain't it? Look at the difference, FD. I talk about the women in their effery, and look at where my channel is. You're right. I'm not making the most incendiary content for my subscribers and to pull in more these women ain't ish brothers and white guys. You're right. You're right. And so it's causing me not to have as large of a channel as I could have had, and more money. Cool. I'll make my subscribers already know. That's why they be putting twos and fews here and there. I don't make money off of AdSense. It's my subscribers. It's the super chats. You're right. And because I don't make the most incendiary content, that's why my channel isn't bigger. You're right. On the other side, because I ain't making the little play gloves on, kissing black women's ass, chastising black men, insulting black men under the guise of constructive criticism from an older brother that loves them. Because I'm not making that content, that's the other reason my channel isn't large. That part. Yeah. Isn't that a Jay-Z line? If lyrics sold, then truth be told. Something along that. Didn't Jay-Z said something along that, right? Like, I would make like common sense type music, Black Thought type music, but I'm throwing those names out. But I would make that music if it sold, right? Huh? Right? So, yeah, man. Look, I didn't actually want this to be 2 hours long, y'all. It'd be happening. That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But I definitely, and that's why y'all saw me more serious in the beginning. Um, so what we're having here, and shout out to FD. I look forward to your gender war think piece. What we have here are, they're like admitting that they might, and FD actually said it to me, kind of, sort of. this black men ain't ish thing, and actually Khadijah admitted this sometime last year, maybe even the year before that, in one of her think pieces also. But she was talking about Twitter in the Twitter comments. They might have went too far with this men ain't ish thing, this black men ain't ish thing. Have fun trying to correct that while also not admitting fully that y'all went not too far. You took these young women who's about to suffer because of it for a ride, a nice little joyride, bumping y'all men for the black community is different. Black men ain't ish music, and now y'all off of that stupor, and now the chickens have come home to roost, and that's gonna look all different type of ways, right? Huh? That's going to look all different type of ways. PK says make it 3 hours. Where the link at? PK, you should have been here yesterday. I don't know if I can do it today. And I'm living pretty damn reckless right now, actually. That's why this is a reckless stream. Yesterday was a reckless stream too, but right. But yesterday was a reckless stream. Yeah, and yesterday was damn near. It was a few minutes off from 8 hours, and them brothers was trying to hold. I see y'all be trying to hold me hostage. I see y'all. I see y'all. I see y'all. The other night I did like what was that, a 2 hour stream when I spoke to Diallo, and like every time I was like, okay, y'all, I'm about to, and Detroit to drop a couple dollars in, and I leave the super chats highlighted for a while, and then he'll pull back, and then Vic will drop a couple dollars. I'm like, oh yeah, oh I see what y'all doing, and all the regular comments was good as hell too. I'm like, I see y'all, right, man. No, it was pretty damn reckless. I'm telling you, like, man. That's why y'all see the way I ended the other day. I was like, man, right? Man, this one is reckless. It's not the end of the world reckless, but the other day, especially towards the end, man, right? So yeah, there's only so many hours in the day, y'all. You gotta take the hours from somewhere, right? There's only so many hours in the day, and there's so much to say. So many hours in the day, so much to say. Haha, there you go. So many hours in the day, so much to say, right? It was, bro, Vic. I'm not trying to incriminate myself, but man, what, man, man. I'm not even gonna say it, but yeah. So no, this is going to be really interesting. Where we, for all of us, 45 ish, maybe even 50 ish, and younger, got a couple of decades left on the planet. Ooh, this is gonna be fun, interesting, fun. I would argue scary, sobering, right? When it comes to men-women relationships, you couple that with where we are in technology and how that's advancing, man. Yeah, PK kind of what I mean too. PK says fun in the worst way. You actually said worst this way. All right, Rugrats. Bestest friend, right? But yeah, no, I think so. I want to see where FD goes with that gender war video. And if he links it back, because I think he's going to link it back to white capital and white money, which I don't fully disagree with. Y'all just never do that, though. I want to see if he's going to do it and how he does it and where he placed black men in that picture and where he places black women and their behavior in that picture. But speaking about marriage and even young people coupling and dating and having sex and all of that, and using a socialist lens, a neo-Marxist lens, a communist lens, I'm not opposed to that. I just want to see if he's going to do it and how he's going to frame that and the women's behavior and rhetoric, not just on the internet, but in real life, right? And how education and status and money and the corporations and the Supreme Court saying money is speech, how all of that fits into the fact that what we're seeing more and more is this, how the wealth gap is affecting intimate relationships writ large in America. Who's getting married, who's staying married, who's getting divorced, and how that in turn affects the children, the lack of children, how that affects coupling or lack thereof, and then how that affects how men see women, both intimately and platonically, and how women see men, both intimately and platonically. I want to see if if you're going to give a leftist critique, go all the way, right? And you have to be honest about the women's behavior and their culpability in the problem, right? Just saying. Hmm. I'm just saying. Good point. And Leon says, Z, he acts like black men can operate as Marxists when the majority of our jobs are linked to capitalism versus them working at some PWI or HBCU. Can't have a fully leftist, socialist, Marxist, communist lens. If you work for city government or local government, yeah, maybe. If you work for the private sector, ugh, how you gonna be anti-capitalism working for the private sector? I'm just saying. And Mr. Z, I've never been a communist, right? But leftist, and I worked for a law office, y'all, a foreclosure law office, and like talk about killing me every day, and for years. And it was crazy listening to the attorneys and the paralegals who were in law school, or the paralegals who they were taking this time to study, and they were going to go to law school, and some of them are attorneys now. Um, and you would have these conversations with them about like, yo, we like helping the banks take grandma's house. And like the answers they would give were so shrewd and dismissive and minimizing and bruh, right? Exactly. And compassion says, and YouTube is in fact private sector, bruh. Ah, say it again, right? You're producing leftist, communist, Marxist content on a private sector platform. I'm just saying, right? And Jake says, FD is constantly criticizing things he partakes in. Dude is a whole hypocrite. And there is something to say about that. Like the leftist critique is we're forced to participate in capitalism, which is true. Like it doesn't matter if you're a communist or not. Like if you live in America, you will be participating. I mean, you could be a communist all the way and be starving to death and living outside and being homeless. I mean, you could, but if you try not to die outside destitute under a bridge somewhere, then you're going to have to participate. If you would rather have a wife and some kids and you provide more than, well, you provide anything for them, then you are going to participate. Point blank, period. Right? Just saying. Right? So, yeah. I'm down to have that conversation. I welcome anyone. I'm going to try to shoot for a stream on a panel on Monday. So that's the goal for a panel Monday, and I'm down to have that conversation. Especially with I'm down for. I I opened the panel for conservative brothers. By the way, like y'all do know that, right? Like I'm a leftist. I have my whole leftist critique of stuff, but I do, and that was Mr. Z almost lost his religion right there. But I do open the panel for, you know, you don't have to be a leftist to jump on the panel. I open the panel for brothers on the centrist, brothers on the right? As long as you ain't trying to troll and, you know, I'm down for any conversation. So yeah, but I'm down for us to have a leftist critique about both the what I'm down for us to have a leftist critique of the left. Yes, it exists, by the way, you guys. Um, I'm down for us to have a leftist critique of cornbread tube. Um, and I'm also down for us to have a leftist critique about how capitalism, namely white neoliberal capitalism, what it's done to the intimate relationships between men and women writ large in the West, specifically America, and then even more specifically than that, Black America, right? Because I think the right does have a point about quote unquote morality. Because I want to gauge where the brothers on the right, when they speak about morality, but I'm not gonna lie to you, if your idea of morality is a 1-to-1 to what white folks are talking about, we got to unpack that, right? But I'm down to have a conversation, and I agree to a certain extent about some type of like quote unquote right and wrong. I want us to unpack what right and wrong means though, but right and wrong, um when it comes to constructing these at least heterosexual with LGBTQ, y'all can do your own thing. I don't even know what like I don't even want to speak on that. But some type of right and wrong when it comes to heterosexual relationships within the Black community, right? I do think there needs to be some type of parameters to this for the most part, right? For the majority of heterosexual interactions between straight men and straight women in the Black community. But what I think doesn't get spoken about enough is you can't just do the right thing your way into the masses of Black people being married again, right? Because the way men are supposed to perform, this is where women start looking like hypocrites on the left, the Black left, is still dependent on men's income. That's even if you're not looking for a Black man to be a hyper provider. The way you want your husband or long-term boyfriend to perform is still largely dependent on capital. Now, what are you willing to trade for that behavior and that income? Uh-oh. Right? And KMS is, and thank you for the super chat, big old 60. If the children are the future, I thought about Whitney Houston, rest in peace. Right? If the children are the future, then the death knell of the Black community is the ungoverned treatment of young Black girls. Oh crap! True. Yeah, true. I call it negative liberty, but I get it. Ungoverned treatment of young Black girls. Can't sell the soap to Black boys if Black girls are calling them everything but the child of God, but a child of God. That is why it's failing. I agree. And I think. I don't want to put words in FD signifier mouth, but he might have said it just to concede a throwaway point, but he did make mention of that when we spoke, both the first time and the second time, if I remember correctly. It was like one of those throwaway admissions that he might not really stand on, but he just was saying it to kind of advance the conversation. But I think there are a number of brothers, even part of Cornbread too, that if you were to catch them in secret, they would admit that, yeah, this. And as a matter of fact, let me take that back. FD did say that to Ole. He did say that. So that's at least 3 times. Actually, 4 times. Because when he did the what he did with his think pieces, he had the Christmas and the Santa Claus hat on, where he admitted like how black women or women, y'all actually do struggle when y'all in relationships with men that are actually emotionally intelligent. Like y'all talk all that, and then you're in a relationship with the emotionally intelligent man, and y'all don't know how to handle it. So I do think FD and a number of other brothers on the left in general, but part of Cornbread Tube, I think in secret and sometimes like FD, maybe even publicly, they're willing to admit like this Negroes ain't ish rhetoric. Yeah, not only is it a bit much, it's dangerous. Forget just the rhetoric. What the way it lands on young black women and young black men, it's dangerous. Right? And it's not helpful. Right? So it sounds good to them, but the end result is not actually helpful. Right? So I agree with you that allowing black girls to kind of freestyle and calling that quote unquote freedom, and then being overly critical of black boys and men behavior under the guise of, well, you know, the black boys and men, you know, their behavior is a negative black boy or man. It's just so much more dangerous to have him. That sounds nice, but regulating black boys and being critical, overly critical of their behavior and rhetoric, while allowing and encouraging, oftentimes, black women and black girls' negative rhetoric and behavior, well, we see the consequence of that. We're watching the consequence of that right now. Right? We're watching it right now. And KMS, thank you for the super chat, and thank you for the super chat. And Salty, what's going on? Salty balls. What's going on, Saul? And Saul says, the fact that we just say salty balls, like the fact that we just so used to saying it now, there's something there. But Saul says, I have a new channel logo for you. It's red and gold flag of palm trees and a red banner, some cog gears, some wheat, coconuts, and a orange. G's People's Republic. Send it to me. Send it to my email. My email's in the description. I'll switch up between your thumbnail and the one that Compassionate made for me. I'll go back and forth. Right? Thank you. If you really meant it, but even if you didn't, it's funny. Right? But yeah, man, like, yeah, no, what KMS said, that, yeah, allowing the girls and the women to be, because we watch it, right? And it, as a matter of fact, Obsidian mentioned something around how, you know, white feminists at a family get together, everybody kind of just looks at her as like the kind of weirdo aunt or the weirdo niece, and I'm kind of adding my extras on it. But Obsidian, I've been to a couple of like non-black people's kind of get-togethers, and yeah, they might have that feminist cousin, and you're right, like, yeah, she's participating, but the second the conversation goes to this men are toxic and they're the real problem thing, yeah, they sideline her in a way you don't see in the black community. Like, sexist auntie that's still single, and that's much of the reason why she's single is because she's sexist as hell and she's anti-black man. We give what she say a bit more credence, a whole lot of credence. And in non-black spaces, I don't know how much that actually happens. And that's going to what you said, KMS, like, yeah, in the black community, we allow black girls and black women to do a whole lot of these Negroes ain't ish. And not just in the hair salon. I expect it in the hair salon. I actually low-key kind of encourage it. Get that steam off. Right? I think it's okay for black men to have their spaces, barbershops, where we're like, yo, these and for women to have their spaces in the hair salon and nail salon, and right? And then you leave those spaces and then you make things happen with each other. Together. The problem is when it comes to this is that we let black women get that off everywhere. In church, at the family get together, at a goddamn wedding, right? In public spaces, right? We let them walk around with a goddamn blowhorn everywhere they go. Black men ain't ish, right? Well, there's a consequence to that, right? There is a consequence to that. Salty said, I need to add some stars to that thumbnail, right? Yeah, there's a consequence to that. And KMS says, and thank you for the super chat one more again. And KMS says, black girls are mean. But, man, people hear us say that. People hear black boys, our sons, say that. They hear that. And they really don't grapple with your boys are saying your daughters are mean. Your black boys, they don't know nothing about no colorism yet. They're not even into girls like that yet. They're telling you at 6 and 7 and 8 that the girls are mean. They're talking about the black girls. One of my close friends, his son, both of the sons are after Latinas, man. They were both saying the same thing. This is like one of my best friends. He is married to a dark-skinned black woman. Where's the colorism? Where's the sexism? His wife, this is one of my friends that's in the 6-figure range. His wife needs for nothing, wants for nothing. Where's the colorism and sexism? Both of the sons are into Latinas. Why you think? Huh? Finishing. And Cameron says, black girls are mean. This statement by young boys alone undercuts everything black leftists and community activists are trying to do. The second my son said it to me unprovoked with conviction, I knew he was gone. And there you go. Exactly. Trell said internalized misogyny. Exactly. 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 Right? Oh, there we go. Yeah. Man, this is all right. The black girls aren't telling you that the black boys are mean. I have a niece. I have girl cousins with daughters. The black girls are not telling you the black boys are mean. When they get old enough, they'll tell you that the black boys are not talking to them like that. And they already have the language now to start insulting the black boys. But they don't tell you the black boys are mean. The black boys are telling you the black girls are mean. The black boys with black mothers are telling you the black girls are mean. What, man? Y'all go ahead. Y'all gonna have to tear this whole thing down. Build us a new black woman. I'm just saying. Because the black girls aren't getting it themselves. It's a whole ecosystem in the black community that brings this up. From the black mothers and aunts and grandmas to the teachers in the school to mass media and social media. The music, all of it. All of it's pushing that Keisha Cole, K. Michelle, Meg Thee Stallion crap. City Girls crap. All of it's pushing this, whether it's posh, well-to-do but mean to black boys and men crap. So the Lori Harvey, freaking Ebony K. Williams crap. To the, Amanda Seals crap, to the City Girls and Trina and, right? All of it, at the end of the day, it's all mean girl stuff. Whether it's upper echelon mean girl or hood mean girl. When it comes to black men, the end result is still, well, mean girl. Exactly. And Vince is, and they went unchecked all the way up to contemporary times. Say that again, right? There is a cost to that. There is a cost to that. All right, y'all. Y'all not gonna get me like yesterday, right? So, thank y'all for listening. This is things we got to grapple with. I am definitely down for the leftist um panel. Like I said, it doesn't only have to be leftist on the panel. Y'all could send this to Hood Conservative. He could come up if you want to pull up all the centrist brothers. Y'all could pull up. But I want to do a panel. Speaking about this, maybe Monday we're gonna shoot. Well, that's tomorrow. We're gonna shoot for tomorrow. Um, if y'all don't hear from me tomorrow, then no life lifed. And that would have been a reckless stream. Also, well, no, it's not. No, it wouldn't. Let me take that back. But that means life lifed. If y'all don't hear from me tomorrow. But yeah. Um, but yeah, no, I definitely wanted to speak on this because especially when FD. So remember, he said that on the second stream that he jumped on with me, the second panel. He did say that he was going to work on a gender wars um think piece. So it looks like he's going to bring that into fruition, and we will see where he goes with that, and we will see what we say about that. We will critique it. Yeah, man. Look, but I definitely want to because they mentioned a couple of things. They mentioned the divestors. They mentioned black men, black women relationships. FD pretty much mentioned me without saying my name. He mentioned Themis without saying his name. Um, yeah, he actually said Herbie's name, but he mentioned Themis without saying his name. He mentioned me without saying my name. Um, but yeah, so to FD, I say, let's see where you go with this. Shout out to Ole for actually admitting that, like, and FD admitting that ain't nobody really trying to hear what black men got to say, and that the most well-meaning. And y'all give Z 1 second. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Regular streams, right? So and I already lost my train of thought just that quickly. Um, Damn, where was I? But yeah, anyway, so I remember mentioning Ole. Oh yeah, and black men having their own voice. Oh yeah, something along those lines. But yeah, so mm, that this is going to be interesting to see where he goes with this gender war video. That's what I'll say. I'll end out with that. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes with this gender war think piece, right? So, but I do. This has real life consequences. Black Enterprise Institute. Single Latina and black women have the least amount of wealth in America. This has real life consequences, right? Like the anti-blackness in the system, the racism in the system, all of that exists. And if you're trying to mitigate for that while also, pushing black women to get their college degree, that's good. But clearly that ain't going to help this. That's not going to fix this. If you're attempting to at least mitigate, right, do no harm, then shout out to Dr. Chris Marsh. I don't know how telling black women to be comfortable with being single and then they're self-actualizing to perfection fixes that. Your class of black women can afford that. The vast majority of them cannot. And that means that the best bet is to get with black men. That means that they're going to have to negotiate with black men. And black men, especially the younger brothers, they're not negotiating, having no conversation with no sexist a-hole black woman. We don't care about what your college degree said. We don't care about what Bell Hooks said or Audre Lorde or whoever the hell. Right? You could try to beat us upside the head with the Malcolm X quote all you want. We don't hear it. Have fun. I remember, Jake. I think he was the one who said no. It was Trell, but yeah. Either way, and Jake says, Mr. Z, they are feel pieces, not think pieces. Ain't no thinking behind those videos. Hysterical. I hear you. I hear you. Right. So yeah. So on that note, y'all, we will pause right there. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. This was good, right? Um, yeah. So PK, I'm gonna try to do that panel tomorrow. That's the goal. Yeah, like I said, but if y'all don't hear from me, no, life is lifing, and y'all know I gotta get stuff together, last minute stuff for the trip. So yeah, but that's the goal. Yeah. Um, and FD and Ole, I guess. Like I enjoyed the conversation. Um, but we found out some stuff from Ole and we found out some stuff from FD, and I didn't know that FD had a health scare or something like that. Yeah, yeah, right. So, yeah, bro, that overwork is a real thing. Z knows. That lack of sleep is a real thing. Z knows, right? So, yeah. Anyway, all right, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content and non-Manosphere content for the love of God. All right, Mr. Z out.